Here are 10 jewelry sales training tips that are going to help you sell more jewelry in 2022. Now, do keep in mind a lot of what I'm about to share with you as well will also help with fine timepieces too. So let's get right into it with point number 1. What is the story behind that piece? Most people that walk into the store that you're working in will already own jewelry or be wearing jewelry of some kind. Now, I always make it a priority to compliment them on it, especially if I do love that piece. It might go something along these lines. Like, wow, that is a beautiful marquee cut diamond ring. Now, normally I find most people that own a piece of jewelry like that have quite an interesting story behind it. Would you mind sharing that with me? Most people are always going to say, yes, absolutely. Well, this one was actually my grandmother's ring, or it was my mother's ring, or whatever it was. And then after the person tells you that story, one of the big points behind this is now that person doesn't just become, oh, wow, there's that lady again that owns that marquee cut ring. It's, oh, there's that lady that purchased that marquee cut diamond ring because she survived cervical cancer. And then when there's more emotion behind it and there's more reasons behind it as well, you can find out the reasons why a person has already purchased something before in the past. So you can see if there's also going to be a new reason why they could purchase something today or in the near future from you as well. So after the person's told you their story, then it's like, wow, that's amazing. You know, is there something that you're looking for now to add into that as well? Or is there another significant life event that's recently happened as well to you? You know, that's something we can quite easily all share together because we've all experienced COVID. And, you know, most people at this stage still might not own a COVID piece of jewelry or something to celebrate what they got through as well during such a tough time that, you know, everyone has collectively experienced. So always make it a priority to ask the person, what is the story behind that piece? That could quite easily lead into a sale at that time, or out of anything, that person's going to remember you more because not many people actually ask that question. So that is point number 1. Always ask the story behind that piece. Now, here's into point number 2. Are you looking for an everyday piece, or are you looking for a piece to wear on a special occasion? Now, why is this key? Well, because you want to be helping them find something that they can actually wear. Because most people that do come into a jewelry store or own jewelry of any kind also have a lot of jewelry at home that just sits in the jewelry box that they simply don't wear. So when you ask a person this question as well, you know, you can bring up the phrase that I love to bring up that everyone agrees with is like, honestly, you know what, if you were to buy something today, I just want to make sure that you don't end up doing what a lot of people do. And what a lot of people do is they end up with a box of jewelry at home that they simply don't wear. So if you were to buy something here today, I want to make sure that you can tell me with certainty that you are going to wear this piece. So would you be looking for a piece that you could wear on a special occasion, or would you be looking for a piece that you can wear every day? Now keep in mind what your opinion of a special occasion is and what their opinion of a special occasion is, or what their opinion of every day is and your opinion of every day is, might be totally different things. You know, apples and oranges. Maybe they're a millionaire. You know, what they do on an everyday basis is they go out to 5-star restaurants for dinner every night as well. And, you know, their formal attire is quite different to what your formal attire might be too. I'll take this off and keep talking like this now. So now do really keep that in mind, because special occasions and your everyday could be very, very different. So ask them some details as well. You know, what is every day for you? Like, what kind of colors of clothing do you wear as well? You know, then it helps them really separate you from other traditional jewelry salespeople. In that way, you know, if you're asking questions like, okay, what type of clothing do you normally wear? Do you normally wear a dress? Is it normally one color? Is it multicolored as well? Since you're looking for something every day, I want to look for something for you here in the store that can really match with that too. So that is point number 2. Is it a special occasion piece or is it an everyday piece? Now moving into point number 3, when did you last shop for jewelry? This is huge. If you do not ask this, there's going to be a big reason why price concerns do come up. Now imagine this for a moment. The last time the person you're talking to shopped for a piece of jewelry was an engagement ring, or it was an anniversary band, and the last anniversary band they purchased was for their 10th anniversary, and now they've been married for 50 years. Now obviously prices have significantly changed. Now you might think it's common sense to understand that, but a lot of people might not understand that as well. So then they're fighting within their head, oh my gosh, well, when I purchased this, which has more diamonds 30 or 40 years ago, it's half the price of what this is, and this has, half the amount of diamonds. So do keep that in mind. Find out when was the last time that person has shopped, so then you can also educate them slightly and the reason why prices are going to be different, because otherwise you're just going to come down to the price conversation and they're like, oh no, it's too much money, it's too much money, it's too much money. But you need to know, what is it too much money compared to what? Are they comparing it to 30 years ago, or are they comparing it to something they've recently seen in another store or online too? So keep that in mind. That is point number 3. When did you last shop for jewelry? Now moving on to point number 4. I love this phrasing. This always helps as well, especially if a person comes in and they're like, you know what, I don't know what I'm looking for. Now, I know you've probably heard this over and over and over, and so have I. So one of the parts is adding to a person's jewelry wardrobe that I really like. So that's where I normally bring up the phrasing, being point number 4, of, well, do you own a right hand ring? And most of the time people are like, oh, what do you mean a right hand ring? Like, yeah, I'm married. I've got my left hand. I have my engagement ring. I have the anniversary band as well. And then I act kind of surprised most of the time that, oh my gosh, okay, so, well, a right hand ring, so, the left is for we, the right is for me. The right hand is your self-expression hand. This is a ring that you would own that shows a bit about who you are and really your individual personality though as well. So if you don't own a right hand ring, this is a great way to really express yourself through a wearable piece of art or jewelry. Let me explain to you a couple of the very popular designs that people would own on a right hand. I mean, that's where you can talk about different bands, you can talk about, fun, colorful, playful rings, got morganite aquamarine pieces, multicolored sapphires as well, sea life inspired, animal inspired rings too from Cartier, the list just goes on with that as well. But that gives people inspiration to maybe shop for something new that they did not expect. Now that's going through point number 4. Now point number 5 is asking, what do you need to think about? When a person says, you know what, I need to think about it, you are going to have people say this. And, if you haven't caught on to it already, you need to come up with something to deal with that. Now, this will happen. I need to just think about it. I'm not sure what one I want to buy. Now, when a person says that, you have to then ask them, okay, great, what is it that you need to think about? And then a lot of the time people would be like, I don't know. I'm not sure, I just need to think about it. Well, that's absolutely fine. You know what? Everyone needs to think about it, especially when they buy a piece of jewelry like this. So now with what it is most people need to think about, it's normally coming down to one or two things. It's normally coming down to either the price or it's the piece itself. Like, you're unsure if you would wear it. Would you mind sharing with me what one of these two it might be? And then after the person starts to share with you, some details around that too, it might be, yeah, you know what, it really is just the price. I'm remodeling my kitchen at the moment at home, and I'm just not sure if I want to do this or if I want to put the money into that instead. Now, keep that in mind, because if it is the price and now they're comparing it to something else, at least you know that the conversation you need to have more about is the price. Now, whether that's going to a smaller version of the ring, the pendant, the earrings that they're looking at, if you do have a smaller version of that in the store, then, that might be the easiest way to be able to do it. You know what? We have one that's just a little bit different to the piece that you're looking at the moment. Would you mind if I show you this? Because, I understand too. Like, I want you to be able to do the kitchen, and I want you to be able to own these beautiful earrings as well. So that way you're working with them. If they're comparing it to something, I always say, first of all, I try to do both compared to having the conversation of, do either or. Because if most people, if they want it enough, they're going to figure out a way to be able to do it, or a way to be able to afford it as well. Whether that means they get a loan from the bank to be able to cover the cost of their kitchen or whatever, they own a business, they'll figure out a way to be able to get the money. So I always start with both if they're doing a comparison compared to trying to downsell something else. Because the moment you start to talk in a bad way about something else that a person's competing with in their mind, to be able to say, I'm not sure if I want to do this or that, and then you start saying, oh, this thing normally has this problem, but that's going to take so much longer. You know what? You're going to move houses anyway. Why even bother about doing the pool? Just buy the 6 carat diamond ring. You're going to look down at it. It's always going to sparkle, and it's going to make you feel beautiful every single day, etc., etc. I don't like having that conversation with people, so I would personally avoid it as well. Okay, now let's move on to point number 6. So point number 6 is studs. So studs are, in my opinion, the little black dress of every lady's jewelry wardrobe, meaning they're always wearable. Every lady should own a pair of diamond studs. Now, knowing that a lady should always own a pair of diamond studs as well, one of the common conversations that you're going to come across is solitaires or clusters. Now, solitaires are known to be classical, timeless, and that's where most people are going to want to start. But of course, solitaires mean also a much larger investment for a smaller look. But they're not getting that look that they want, or the look that they want is really a 1.5 to 2 carat in each ear, but they can only afford a 1/4 carat or a 1/2 carat at the moment. So then when comparing between the two, how are you able to let's say upsell the one, meaning the clusters instead of the studs? Well, you have a few different ways. Why is it that you're wanting to be able to buy? Why is it that you're wanting studs? You want them to be able to sparkle. You want them to be able to look really, really nice. So, one of the things that you always need to remember when you are shopping for studs, now this is me talking to the customer, is that number one, clarity is not the most important thing. Because who is going to walk up to you wherever you are? Let's say you're out at dinner, then you're wearing your beautiful diamond studs, and your boyfriend, husband is sitting across from you, and then someone from across the other side of the room has a look, and they can see the sparkle in your studs, but then they're like, oh, you know what? I wonder if they're SI or they're VVS. You know what? I need to take a closer look. They would need to be millimeters away from your ear with a loop to be able to tell the difference. So knowing the difference, knowing that, why put your money into something you don't see a visible difference in? And then you can show a person this as well, side by side, so they can then see that as well. And then, that way, when you show them that side by side that they can barely see the difference, you'll also then be able to tell them, this is exactly why. You want to put your money where you see a visible difference. When are you ever going to have these two side by side in your ear? So you're going to have another hole placed in your ear so you can wear the two side by side, so then you can then finally see the difference. It makes no sense. So let's talk about look at where you can see the difference as well. Then show comparisons of where a person can see the difference. Now, I would start still with the solitaire, but if the budget doesn't allow the solitaire, and then it's the cluster, then you're really talking about the look. Do you know what? Literally, all we're comparing here is a traditional round brilliant diamond. This diamond here has 58 facets. Now, this cluster has 7 diamonds in it. So now we're going to times 7 by 58. Now, where are you going to see more sparkle? Well, the more facets that you have there, you know, in that one cluster set, you're going to see so much more brilliance, so much more sparkle. It's going to give you such a bigger look as well, even if you were still to compare that to a 3-carat stone. So, you know, keep that in mind as well when you are shopping for studs, that maybe the cluster is actually what the person would prefer the look of as well. And plus, it's going to be more affordable too. So that's really what I would keep in mind, is show the comparison and show the difference. And, you know, talk in simple terms here as well. 58 facets compared to 7 times 58 facets. More facets is basically more mirrors. You know, the more mirrors you have, the more chances light has to reflect, and you're going to see so much more fire. You know what? Let's put one in one side, and then let's put the other one on the other side as well. You know, after you get the one cluster in one side, and then you get the solitaire on the other side, then the person can see the difference for themselves in the mirror. And hopefully they are there with their partner at the time as well, so their partner can then see the visible difference too. So that's really how I like to compare the two, or differentiate, but also make it a little bit easier to be able to sell the cluster compared to the solitaire. Now, the next part that I do want to talk about as well, and this is going up to, now that was part number 6, this is point number 7. So point number 7 is rarity versus beauty. Now, you are normally going to find this with men, or you're going to find this with most analytical buyers, analytical or information-based buyers. So rarity versus beauty is always a conversation that you are going to have. That a lot of people are going to come in like, you know, I want VVS, I want D color, I want it 100% like that. It has to be the highest possible, quality. Now, at the same time, a person might have been told that over and over and over, and you know, there's nothing wrong with a person spending that additional money to get a D colored stone or a flawless stone. But a lot of people might not know how much of an investment that really means they're looking at into that piece. So when this conversation does come up as well, the rarity versus beauty, it's like, okay, number one, why is it that you are buying it? Now, are you buying the piece because it is something that you are looking at for a possible potential future investment to be able to resell later on? Because if that is the case, then you've got to be having a totally different conversation with the person compared to talking about the beauty of the piece. You know, the beauty of the piece then slightly goes away to the side if, you know, this is one of the priorities of why they are shopping for jewelry. Me personally, I don't like to have that conversation with people because I don't talk about jewelry in the way of an investment. I talk about it in the way of jewelry being a piece of beauty, a piece of wearable art, something that you can wear, and when you're walking out into the restaurant later on as well, it's going to look beautiful under the candlelight, or it's something that you're going to give through the generations of your family as well. That's more so the conversation that I like to have. So just keep that in mind, you know, is it the rarity or is it the beauty that you're really looking for with this piece? Like with this ring, with these studs as well. You know, what is most important to you? Because rarity you can't see, beauty you can see. And then that intrigues also a lot of people that might be coming in thinking, oh, I need a flawless stone, or oh, I need a D color. You know, rarity you can't see, beauty you can see. You know, would you mind if I show you what I mean? Most people are never going to say no to that. Then you can really show them the difference. Now that is that conversation, rarity versus beauty. Get right to the point with those people there as well, and if they are looking at something for an investment purpose, make sure you find that out earlier so you can be having the right type of conversation with them. All right, now let's move on to the next point, which is value in design, not just the gemstone or diamond. Now, This is a key part that a lot of people can end up missing out on, especially if you're selling multiple different designer jewelry brands. Like me, at the moment, I work a lot with FE jewelry. Now, when you're talking about designer, this could be design from Cartier, Bulgari, it could be design from any designer jewelry brand on the planet. That's placing design into the setting, design into maybe the prongs even themselves too. So remember that this part of the conversation does need to come up. You do need to show the person the actual design. You need to show them the setting, show them the undergalley of the ring, show them the bail of the pendant, show them this part, show them how it sits compared to what a traditional design might. You know, here they haven't just placed a stone into a setting and then covered it with 4 or 6 different prongs. You know, here they've placed this gemstone into a setting, but then actually look at the setting as well. Like, look at all the work that's been done here to the metal as well. Like, look at how the undergalley of the ring is actually finished too. It's not just simply a setting, it's really a masterpiece. So make sure to show the individual the actual setting of that piece too, and don't just talk about, oh, it is a really, really nice diamond, or oh, it is a really nice ruby, but show them the setting, especially if you're selling designer jewelry. Now let's move on to the next point. The next point is point number 8, and this is low pressure reasons to come back and see you. Now, low pressure reasons to come back and see you, me, I work with jewelry within the cruise ship industry at the moment. Now, my low pressure reason for people to come back and see me is I was always very, very colorful, very flamboyant with my jackets and everything too. So I might have one day I'm going to be wearing a red jacket and oh my God, most people will be like, oh, I love your jacket. You know what? Every day I wear a different color. Make sure to come back and see me again as well. It's not even the purpose of having a reason surrounding the jewelry directly, but it might be a reason surrounding something with you. Maybe your thing is tie pins. Maybe your thing is hair clips. Maybe your thing is your makeup. It could be literally anything, but you need to have and become creative with this, a low pressure reason to bring people back. Maybe it is going to be in the educational basis of it as well. You know what? Every day I'm always researching and learning more about diamonds, gemstones, and jewelry. So every day I have a new jewelry fact to tell people as well. So just make sure every time that you come past, that every time that you're here in the shopping mall as well, make sure to just pop into the store too, and I'll have my next jewelry fact for you about rubies. This is the month of rubies because this is the birthstone for this month of July. That's why every single day I've got 30 different facts about rubies as well that I'm going to share with you. So I know maybe you're not going to be here in the shopping mall every day of the entire month, but for the days that you are here, make sure to come in and see me again too. Having that conversation does make a big difference. It gives a person a low pressure reason to come back and see you, more opportunity to build more rapport with that person as well, and then the opportunity to sell something truly significant. Now let's move on to the next part. This is the final part, part number 10. Make sure to take notes. Your customer relationship management. Like if the store that you're working in doesn't have a CRM system in place though as well, you need to be making sure that you create your own. This might be in a notebook. This might be on your phone. This might be somewhere. Wherever it is, make sure to take notes. After you've had a conversation with that person as well, don't just rush into talking to the next person. Take down some notes. Did they tell you when their daughter's birthday was? Did they tell you when their anniversary is? Did they tell you, do you remember their name? If you don't remember their name, make sure to, follow up, make sure to chase them out of the store or wherever they went off to and say, oh my God, sorry, I really wanted to know your name. Could you tell me it again? And then, go on back there into the store, make sure to write it on down as well. So you have these details down. The more information that you take down is going to help you the next time that person walks into the store, so you're not just like, oh, hello, welcome, have you been here before? And they remember you, but you don't remember them. You know, of course, it's not going to happen all of the time, but the more information you can take down, the more of a chance you have to remember that conversation with that individual. Now, I hope this really does help out, and this was 10 points quickly overviewed as well. If you have not seen my video covering the 5 important tips that jewelry salespeople should know as well, the link for that as well is in the corner of the screen too. And if you do not know me, my name is Levon. I am the person here in charge of the channel, Krugon Digital Sales Training. This is a channel mainly dedicated to jewelry sales training, so I hope you've learned a thing or two as well. And if you would like to learn a little bit more, I'm going to be releasing a new jewelry sales training course on Udemy very soon as well, and it will be out on other platforms too in the near future. The link to my current jewelry sales training course is in the description of this video as well. Have an amazing day, and I hope you've learned something new.